Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
and we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Maddie P.
Hey, Don.
Matt Pickett. I saw that you had a different name on when you first signed up. It said Maddie P.
Yeah, I was in on the wrong browser, basically. So I just put that in because I knew it would only be there for a second. So, yeah, I'm here. Good time.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Sorry, folks, if you're waiting for us live, we're a couple minutes late. I've just had a busy day. How was your day today? How was your week? What's going on?
Similarly busy, actually. Yeah, it was a lot of running around campus today, a lot of crazy stuff, but things are good. I can't really complain too much. The weather's been unseasonably nice, which, minor concerns about climate change or whatever, but like still, it's been nice to be out in the warmer weather. Of course, now that it's actually March, it doesn't feel quite as dire to have a 70-degree day. It's like, okay, this is kind of in the right place, more or less. But so that stuff aside, I'm doing good. Just kind of getting through and happy to hear the people talking about the combine is kind of exciting. So it's like there's some excitement around the coming season as a result of that, and kind of it really feels like a big ramp up towards the draft. So that's exciting stuff. So I'm good. How you been this week?
That is good. I'm okay. My cat hasn't killed me yet.
Yay.
Despite your thoughts that she's trying to, but she's just adorable and cute. And for some reason, she just decided now was the time she wanted to play. So if you hear some meowing in the background, my apologies. That is Tosh. I'm not sure if I told you, speaking of cats, did I break the news here or not? Jamie Cheesebutt, friend of the show, Packer fan, is planning, and I'm helping her with this right now, to adopt Pepe LaFleur.
You mentioned that it was like possibly in the works, but there's a lot of things to work out still. So it's still moving forward in that direction, huh?
It's in the works, and she's coming at 3:00 Sunday for a kitty shower.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, that seems like a big move forward then. That's awesome.
Yes, and so I'm excited to get her kind of set up with toys, just cat things and stuff. So, so and the Pepe LaFleur's foster mom is super happy too. So yeah, so far so good. So yeah, I did not expect that, but that's one of the many things I've been working on. Hello, Bill Berquist. It's nice to see. Oh, you were just thinking of Jamie. Bill says he was just thinking about Jamie. Hadn't seen her tweeting lately. She's glad she's doing great. Yeah, she is, and she's just taking a social media break right now, and getting things done and practice doing music and getting used to her living on her own in her new place and loving life. So yeah, she's doing great.
Good for her. And Dawn, have you actually met her in person yet?
Actually, I don't think I have. I feel like I have.
I think that was a difficult question.
I was like, I certainly have, but I guess I haven't. But we talk all the time, so
of course. Yeah. You have the show and everything. So, well, that's exciting for you. You get to like see her, give her a hug, and like all that kind of good stuff. So,
yeah,
very fun. I'm jealous. I will say
it's gonna be fun. We'll have to. Maybe I'll do some pictures or videos from it. I know we can't go live because she's on her social media break, and I don't usually do that when I like to be in the moment, enjoy my peeps. So
yeah, is what you should.
Yeah, so I'm getting ready. I got like this huge. I ordered something small the other day. Isn't it funny when you get something? It wasn't small. It was like, I want to say 38 or 40 inches long, but it was just a small tube, and it came in this enormous box with all this, because it was something that you can't bend. It's like this film. It's an art supply. Anyway, so I have this huge box. I'm like, oh, I can fill this entire box with stuff for this cat that I've been collecting. So I've got this big box, and yeah, we're excited. It's going to be good to see her. And I enjoyed listening to some of Brian Gutekunst's interviews this week.
His pressers, yep, very interesting stuff in there. Lot of gems.
Very interesting. Didn't you just love the way he said about Aaron Rodgers? We'll see if it's a good fit for him at the
Yeah, I
Packers.
mean, has there ever been like a bigger signal that like he's ready to move on? I mean,
Oh,
it's all going to be, GM speak. All of it is. Everything he says is so fascinating. I love listening to his pressers more than anybody else's because just the way how he has to say things in the most neutral possible way, the most PR possible way. It's a masterclass.
oh.
That in public relations.
And I love his little sparkly, he knows when he's leaving a few little crumbs too. He knows it. And so that wasn't the only thing he said either. There was a couple other things that were not, were equally as like, oh, we know what that means if you've ever applied for a job and, gone through interviews and sent your resume and all those jazzy things that you do to get a job. And it's like, we'll see if it's a good fit. And you're like,
Translation: he's not a good fit. Not in my mind.
You have to talk about it after 18 years.
Yeah.
Yep. That was funny. That was my funny of the day a couple days ago.
So the Rodgers thing aside, what were the other kind of big takeaways for you from his presser?
Honestly, this week has been monstrous, and I didn't get to finish any. I started a cut. I did finish one.
Yeah.
I started to develop. It's funny. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but what I can tell you is I started formulating questions in my mind, not about what he said or anything like that, for our future guest from Packers. Yes, the Wes Hodkowitz. So, and I'm just going to call him Weskowitz from now on, just shorter. Because I started calling him that in my head, and I'm like, I like that. That works. For me, anyway.
Hopefully for him, we'll see.
We'll see how he feels. But just about being in the building and things like that. So, and then I started thinking about, I think this was one of the questions on Pack-A-Day podcast, that what would your dream job be at the Packers, right? It was on Dusty. Yeah, I started thinking about that. And I was like, oh, Wes is coming on the show.
Yeah, I love how you dropped that so casual, Don. Just like, and instantly, we're gonna have Wes Hodkowitz on the show in a few weeks. We're looking forward to that. Should be a good time.
Yes.
Indeed.
We have some great guests coming up. So, and I was going to mention some of them. So since we're on the topic, let me scroll down. Brian Maffey.
So that's next week, right? He's coming next week. Yep.
Super fan. Packers Low, Lauren, who we love. Tyler Herrick.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
Oh,
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. So those are our next three, but we have more. We've been booking up our summer. And last year we did the same thing, and we booked up all the way through the season. So, the next thing you know, you guys, we're going to be playing football again. We are going to be playing football again.
I won't be playing football, but I'll be watching people play football.
We'll be watching our team play football.
That's right.
So, so Kat is jumping on my desk, and after screaming at me, that didn't work. So, okay. So, Maddie, have you been formulating any questions for our guests, or is it too far in advance for you?
I hadn't thought about it yet. I mean, no, when we've had people who are like professional reporters and, of that kind of, I don't say stature, but, that kind of position, maybe we'll say, like when we had Shanna Quinn, when we had, what's her name? We talked about Alaska the whole time. I can't think of her name now.
Oh,
MK Bridges.
Yes.
So we had them on, we talked more about like the work they do and less about like Packers fan questions, because they're not necessarily Packers fans. And so definitely questions like that are the kinds of things we want to ask, Wes, for sure. But I hadn't put any forethought into it yet. So I'm looking forward to it though. Yeah,
it's sorry about the little distraction. If you're watching right now, I just flew out of my chair because I set myself up with a little ice bucket because I drink very little, and when I do drink very little, I drink very slowly. So I have to put like if I have a bottle of beer, I have to put the half of it on ice, otherwise it's totally warm by the time. Anyway, and it was over here on a little table next to my desk, but far enough away where the cat was like going like this and trying to just pour the like, I want that ice bucket. Oh, Tosh, you're so cute. Okay, it's like having a toddler today. But I've been gone a lot today, so I've been busy with a few things. I think I mentioned I'm helping some refugees that come over through. Yep. And we took one of them shopping today and for lunch, actually brunch, and at a fun place that I've been wanting to try. And she presented me with a painting. I think I mentioned she was an artist. So I have this really wonderful painting. I think I posted it on Twitter just a few minutes ago, or like an hour ago. So
I didn't see that. I'll check that out.
It's been a fun day. Cool. Yeah. It's been a fun day. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and I don't know if you remember, but I did some art for some of the refugees a while back. I think I posted those on Twitter, but
I think so. Yeah.
Lorenzo. Hey, Lorenzo.
Lorenzo, thanks for joining us tonight. Lorenzo's in the chat with us this evening. Good to have you here.
Good to have you. Yes, Wes is a good dude.
Agreed.
I love Wes. He's so wholesome.
That is a good word to describe him. Absolutely.
I love that. We are doing great. We just spent 20 minutes talking about how great we're doing, how our week has been going. Okay, Maddie. So I have some interesting, maybe to you, hopefully interesting to you all. The other thing that's been keeping me busy, Katie and I, Packers fan, Katie, is we've been on a trial watch, and it was supposed to be like a 3-week trial, and it turned into over 6 weeks, and and I haven't even finished listening to the closing arguments. I listened to the prosecution closing, but I was going to listen to the defense tonight. The defense just barely finished closing, and within 2 hours and less than 15 minutes, they came back with a verdict.
Oh my goodness. Which
is kind of scary to me because the evidence wasn't super great. Like it was kind of the dude is definitely responsible. It's kind of weird because they really didn't have a solid case. So, and I was just going off about that because you don't ever want to be in that position to be, because I follow so many podcasts of like those who are innocent and who the Innocence Project and all that kind of thing. And this, not that this dude qualifies by any means for that. So in any case, like the verdict just came out. So we were watching that, and it's always kind of a, well, first of all, no one expected to take this much time, and I don't usually watch every minute of every trial, but we were, Katie and I, and so it's been kind of fun. We've been going back and forth. This is what we do when there's no football, right? So, anywho, we're going to go live tomorrow at noon, my time.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, to talk about that, maybe. I mean, it's kind of like old news tomorrow, so we'll see what we talk. Well, I have all these notes that I took for the prosecution closing arguments, and I was going to compare them to the notes for the defense. And it's like, I don't even know if I want to listen to the closing arguments now the verdict's in. Are you watching any XFL? Bill asks.
I'm not. Are you done?
I would like to. I should probably be watching that instead of trials, murder trials. I did a little bit last year. What about you, Bill? What's your take? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I know it's not the NFL and all that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with watching the XFL. I know some people are kind of poo-pooing that idea, but yeah.
I mean, I got no problems with that. Last night, Dusty was taking a couple of the questions that weren't answered in the Wednesday Packet Day and replying to them. So mine was one of those. And we're going back and forth about like if you could have an Avengers character like on a football team, like, you know, and just talking through this kind of stuff made me like, man, I really just want to watch football just so bad. So it might be time for me to check out the XFL. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. So Bill's saying here in the chat, he says he likes it. It's not as good, but it's fun to have some football to watch. I think that's exactly where I'm at. Like I need to I'm jonesing for it.
Yeah. I watched it last year and everyone was like, ha, ha, ha. But not that I cared, but
just for fun.
Yeah. I'm all for it. I should pay. When do they start up? Was it just this week or last week?
They've had at least 2 weeks, I
2 weeks.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. I be honest though, this murder trial's been taking every bit of my spare time, and I don't watch the trial. Okay, I listen to it while I'm doing other things, but
Mhm.
it's still, yeah, a lot. So okay, so Bill says the Vipers have Brett Hundley and Geronimo Allison's as ex
As
Packers. Oh,
ex-Packers,
they're
yeah.
playing. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah, a lot of ex-football, NFL players are in there, and Bill
right.
mentions this will be week 3. That's what I thought. Yeah, so
Week
2 weeks
three.
have passed us so far. So yeah, maybe I'll check it out this weekend. We'll see.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, for sure. Let's talk about the XFL maybe next week a little bit more
Maybe.
after we watch a little
Yeah.
bit.
All right, Don. So I think you're about to say that you have some superlatives. I think you're going that direction a second ago.
Yeah, my direction this week is also a little bit about NFL law, legal stuff, right?
Mm,
And it also kind of falls within the category of fraternizing with the enemy, my series.
okay. Hmm.
So here we go. Okay, so this is the enemy, and this is just tongue in cheek. The enemy is anybody but the Packers, right? So my first one is creepiest.
Creepiest.
Creepiest, most creepy. And this is Daniel Snyder as he demands his demands anger other NFL owners. It's about time other NFL owners to get angry. They renew the talks of voting him out. Now, this is a little bit of rumor, but he's demanding that they keep certain things under wraps, that financial stuff that he doesn't want exposed, not only for legal reasons, but because he's trying to sell the team and this and that. So they're not liking it, the other owners. So there's been a lot of news about him. In fact, there was more news today and yesterday, which I'm going to have to look up while you're doing yours because I'm going to have a supplement to this. And I forgot to put it in. I thought I put it in here, but I didn't. And so if you don't know who Dan Snyder is, he is the creepiest owner in the NFL,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Sure. Of what team?
And he is the owner of the Washington Commanders, or whatever they're called this week. Sorry.
That is what they're called. Yes. So
It is what they're called.
in fact,
I just don't love that name. I don't love anything. I mean, I want the DC team to do well. You know, it's DC. They should do well. But anyway, it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of George Washington-ish. So also slowest or most slow, since this is a superlative.
Mhm.
And this is that federal investigation that we still haven't heard any results from.
Which one's that?
Remember Mary Jo White, who was the judge who was assigned to investigating Dan Snyder, and then all of a
Right.
sudden, oh, the Democrats are out, the Republicans are in. What happened to that investigation? We're still waiting. We're still waiting. But in addition, there's also a federal investigation of the Commanders. And so, yeah, so Congress isn't going to do anything anymore because of the shift in power. But and I'm going to quote somebody here that you don't like. His initials are MF. He says, Mary Jo, and I didn't even know this is the person who wrote it until I read it. This is from not Yahoo News, but it's Mike Florio who wrote it. Mary Jo White has apparently shifted her investigation of Commanders owner Daniel Snyder into a molasses on frozen sliding board mode, thanks to Snyder's November decision to explore selling the team. I don't know why that should matter because he hasn't sold it. And she should be done by now, but so this whole thing is kind of fishy. And so, yeah, but also the federal prosecutor in Virginia is investigating him. And in a lot of what I'm talking about tonight, this is just by way of reminder, just to keep this stuff and leading into my last of my third superlative on this subject. most forgetful, and that's us as
Mhm,
fans.
mhm, mhm,
I mean, so lest we forget, just a few months ago, Attorney General in DC also announced his lawsuit against Dan Snyder. They're coming at him from every direction. And I just want to remind everyone what that was about. And I actually did look up to see if any progress or if there were any papers or anything on this yet, but it's still fairly early in the legal world. These things can take time. But the Attorney General in DC, Washington, D.C., announced his lawsuit a few months ago against Dan Snyder for deceiving DC fans for financial gain. So here's your reminder of what to watch for. There's three things. And this all comes from his website, the Office of Washington, D.C. Attorney General. So number one, the point is they're trying to hold Dan Snyder, Roger Goodell, the Commanders, and the NFL accountable for all this nonsense. And this
mhm.
is a lawsuit on behalf of DC residents. Number two, the Attorney General, whose last name is Racine. I don't know if you remember that, Attorney General Racine. I remember that because that's the name of the city I was born and raised in. Racine sues the Washington Commanders, Daniel Snyder, NFL, and NFL Commissioner Goodell, let's not forget,
Mhm.
all of it for deceiving DC fans for financial gain. Basically, he's saying that they colluded to deceive district residents who are Commanders' core fans. So think about this if this were happening with the Packers, right? How you would feel about it. About an investigation into the toxic workplace culture and allegations of sexual assault. So he's not just talking about the financial stuff, but also hiding this from the public and just being deceitful. And then number three, also for cheating district ticket holders out of hundreds of thousands of dollars, not just, but season tickets and tickets holders. So he allegedly implemented an illegal scheme to cheat district ticket holders out of their deposits for season tickets and to
Mm,
use the money for his own personal purposes.
mhm.
So shady.
Yes.
So shady. I mean, all of it. So I just, I'm sorry, but I just don't want us to forget that all these lawsuits and this supposedly investigation by Mary Jo White about his whole workplace sexual harassment and whatnot is still under wraps. We don't have any results. We don't have a report. We haven't had an update in months. Where did it go? And
Mhm.
I just feel personally it's important to know, the environment of, a sport that we're supporting and loving
Mhm.
and what's going on behind closed doors. So just a little reminder of creepy, slow, and how
Forgetful.
forgetful we can all be.
That's such a good point, Don, because when news of a scandal like that hits, whether it's football or anywhere else, it's gonna go through the news cycle and kind of wash out if it's a thing that isn't resolved yet, and people will forget about it. And you're right, we need to not forget about it. This is pretty, I mean, not pretty. This is definitely absolutely serious stuff. And we of course have to say allegedly for a lot of the things that they're charged with, but I think we can say conclusively Dan Snyder's a scumbag. So let's not forget that. Want to note here, Too Deep in the chat. Too Deep, thanks for joining us once again. Mentions that they're very interested in this DC versus NFL case. It is fascinating. And also, I want to point out too, number 3 of the things that you said there, Don, is their favorite about cheating ticket holders and how terrible that is. So yeah,
Right.
absolutely. That's deplorable. It's so bad.
I mean, can you imagine Green Bay Packer fans feel so connected to the community in Green Bay and Wisconsin and the team. Can you imagine if you found out that the Green Bay Packers had, or even one of the executives there had some kind of a scheme that they implemented to cheat, even if it was a couple of dollars each, it's still,
Mhm.
you don't want that from the team you're supporting
Exactly.
and cheering for. It just really takes a lot of the joy out of why do people have to be so monstrous? I mean, it's just
It comes down to being selfish. It's selfishness and taking things at the expense of others without caring about it.
it's just awful.
It is awful.
And Bill mentions here, and I'm so glad, and hello, Too Deep. Bill mentions he charged the team 4.5 million to put their logo on his private jet. He
What the
charged the
hell?
team to
Yeah.
do that. Oh, nice. Nice guy. I
I
mean, he didn't know.
don't have words for that.
It's a lot like this Alec Murdaugh thing. Now, he was just charged. The whole trial that we were paying attention for the last 6 weeks, which is supposed to be 3 weeks, was a murder. But he also he's facing 700 years in prison for all of his financial scams. And he was an
Mhm.
attorney, and he was cheating clients out of their settlements, millions and millions of dollars. So you just don't expect that from somebody who's supposed to be upholding the law, with that kind of responsibility. It's pretty deplorable. So
Absolutely. Well, before we move on to my superlatives, there is a thing from Bill I wanted to highlight in the chat here. Bill mentioned that speaking of season tickets, my dad is officially transferring our Packers season tickets to me this month. Bill says, "I'm pumped, dude. I'm pumped for you. That's awesome.
congratulations.
Oh, what a cosmic win that is. That's great.
That's fantastic.
Outstanding.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Bill, where do you live? Do you live close to the stadium? Okay, Maddie, while Bill is answering us,
Mhm.
what do you have for superlatives for us this week?
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know something, but
I have two, and kind of not a superlative, but a shout out at the end. So I don't think I'd call it three, but it's 2+. I have 2+ superlatives this week. So first one I'm going to say is best vision. And so Bill lives in Denver, so we're going to be traveling to use the season tickets. Okay, so best vision. A lot of people. Okay, Aaron Rodgers has become a kind of a divisive figure. I feel like more people are trending towards like, let's trade him, please. But a lot of people are still very devoted to him, to the idea of having him on the team at least for one more year.
Mhm.
And so, in that context, this week, I want to say it was on Monday, I think, Andy Herman did a solo edition of the Pack-A-Day talking about why it's better if we don't have him on the team for the season, because it just the long range outlook, like it could be a good season, it could be great. And Bill, I thought that was, sorry, I'm for myself, but yeah, I figured you were that Bill. Anyhow, Bill mentions that he's the guy who runs
I
the Packers,
know.
was a great guest on the show last season. I figured it was I wasn't totally sure, but anyhow, yeah. So Andy talked about
I forgot though. I forgot. I'm sorry, but I totally forgot. I'm going to own this. I knew Bill, but I didn't know the last name, or I didn't put the last name together. I just thought of the Reddit part, like Bill Reddit. So you're always Bill Reddit to me. Sorry, Bill. Thank you for saying that. Okay.
Okay, so anyhow, yeah, so just talking about like why it is more detrimental for the long-term outlook, for the next 5-6 years, if we keep Rodgers, because of how it hamstrings the budget and the amount of money we have to, just bring other players into the team. And then of course, like the longer that Rodgers is on the team, the more the cap hit extends into the future, and just the worse it is. So the way how Andy laid it out, of course, was extremely articulate and like really painted the picture in a very clear way to be like, oh my God, like I love Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers. In my office behind me right here, when I'm doing Zoom calls from work, right here is an Aaron Rodgers, like let's call it action figure, not doll. And like I love Aaron Rodgers, but I'm definitely have become of the opinion that like we need to move on. We need to continue era. There's so much that we can't accomplish as a team just because of the contract situation around him. And like say what you will about whether he's declining or whether it was just broken thumb and ribs and whatever else, new receivers, et cetera, et cetera. But like regardless, even at his peak MVP level, we still weren't getting there.
Right.
Right.
So
point being, this episode of Pack-A-Day that Andy did just really laid out really well the case for why we kind of need to move on and move into the next era of the Packers, the love era. So highly recommended. I feel like I have not heard a better, more convincing, well laid out argument. Don just disappeared instantly, so I'm gonna keep talking here about how great it was. Actually, go to my second superlative here. So the next one I wanted to talk about, this one is going to be most helpful. So hey, welcome back, Don. Hey, how you doing?
I've never had that happen. It was just like, bye. I'm back.
So I was about to move on to the second one, but did you want to say anything about my first one before I do?
I love Aaron Rodgers too, and that is on my playlist from Andy. So I'm dying to. I can't wait to hear that.
It's a good one. Even by Andy Herman's high standards, it's a particularly good one. So
I have a feeling it would be, and that's why it's on my playlist. Sometimes I'll just listen to all kinds of stuff, but some things I want to make sure I'm getting everything out of it.
Yeah. The things you can like kind of half pay attention to versus the things you want
Right.
to really focus on. Yeah, I totally get that.
Like a 6-week murder trial. It's like, how much more do I need to know?
So
and Bill agrees with your assessment.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah.
My second one then is most helpful. This is a series of I'm gonna say an argument, series of articles that Dara Carragher wrote for Packer Report.
Yes.
The one that I specifically am linking to in the show notes is called "Drills and Times That Packers Fans Should Look For at the Combine," Part 2. I'm putting the link to that one because it's easier to find Part 1 from that since it's linked within it. So, but suffice to say, Dara, who is writing we enjoy immensely, didn't just say like here's the stats for the kind of like thresholds or whatever, like really kind of got into it. There's more narrative to it. It fleshes out some of the stuff. So with the combine's kind of like an info dump. It's like, and here's a bunch of stats, everybody. And for people who are like ready for it and primed to like understand it and digest it, that's amazing. For most of football fans out there who are paying attention, who aren't those people, it's kind of like, whoa, that's a lot to take in. What do I do with that? Well, these articles that Dara has written will do a lot to help you digest it, to understand what we're looking for, to get excited about the things we should be excited about, because it's like we'll see like a tweet come across our feeds, like my I have notifications up for Ian Rappaport, and so it'll be like, this guy ran this time or measured this wingspan. I'm like, I guess that's good, right? Is that good? He wouldn't be tweeting about it if it wasn't good. Is that good? So yeah, these articles by Dara are really good for just giving you the framework, the understanding, on like knowing what to look for and what to be excited about. So like hugely helpful.
I like that. And I like that human beings can have wingspan.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay.
So Two Deep has a question here. I'm going to go ahead and read it. So Two Deep's asking, does your Aaron Rodgers have lifelike hair that you can comb? If not, then I suppose the idol / centerpiece of your shrine to Rodgers could be considered an action figure. That's hilarious. No, my Aaron Rodgers action figure does not have hair that I can comb, but that would be fun. No, it's like a posable, it's kind of like a GI Joe, but slightly bigger, basically. So that sort of size posable action figure, and I love it. I love having Aaron Rodgers in the background.
Flashbacks to when I cut my Barbie's hair. My mother told me 100 times, "Don't do it. Don't. You will not be happy." And it's like, I had to give her a shag, a shag haircut.
I figured you meant shag haircut. I was. Had to shake Barbie. Anyhow, so I have a third one done. Oh my god. Okay, so anyhow.
No, I don't think Matt would do voodoo. You wouldn't do voodoo.
Not a voodoo doll. Nope. No. For either of us, for the shagged Barbie or the Aaron Rodgers. So all right, now my third one, the superlative light, is just a happy birthday to Joey from Underage Packers, Joey Van Zorn. He, I believe, turned 18 this week and announced recently that he's going to, I forget where, for college to study journalism.
Missouri, Mizzaloo. He's going where our previous guest, who we were just talking about, went. Shanna?
Oh, Shanna Quinn?
I think so. Didn't she go to Missouri?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, no. So, happy birthday to Joey. It's a milestone. It's a rite of passage for people in this country. That's a weird thing to say, Don. Like I'm a sociologist, like studying this country. I hear there's a milestone for the Americans. What? Anyhow, no. So happy birthday, Joey! Yay!
We're weird tonight. Oh, we love Joey. I love that he uses his actual last name now on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's all growing up right in front of our eyes.
Doesn't that feel like a big like?
Oh man!
Oh, Joey's grown up. This guy's his name exactly. Like I felt like a big another milestone. Speaking of milestones, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we love our Joey and our Big B.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome. So do they have to change? No, I think they can still be underage. I know that's an interesting question. Will the Underage Packers podcast have to change their name when they're 18 or 21 years old?
Huh. Well,
Huh.
the sort of tagline at the beginning of the show is like, we may be too young to enjoy a spotted cow, but we're still, I forget what Big B says after that. But yeah,
Right.
so they're got to be till they're 21. They're still the Underage Packers podcast. So they got time. Hopefully it keeps going strong like it has been. I mean, that might be hard for them, with Joey going to college. I'm not sure what grade Big B's in. I don't know if he's like a junior or senior or whatever in high school.
I think he's
So
a senior.
if he's a senior, then I don't know his plans are for next year. But if they're both going off to school, it might be hard to keep the podcast going, of course, because man, college is a busy time,
Yes, it sure is. It sure is. Well, they're covered till they're 21, but I mean, I think they should just keep it. They should just keep it.
I think so. It's
Maybe not.
It's the brand at this point. So
right, it's a brand. We love that brand. Okay, let me just give you an idea. I said as a bonus, I would give you more of what even before, because I put these superlatives together a couple of days ago. I like to try and be prepared once in a while. So, but since I put the superlatives about creepiest and all of that, lest we forget. ESPN came out with how a disputed $55 million loan now plays into the federal probe of the Commanders. There is an article on Commanders Wire, if you're interested, about the Washington Commanders their takeaways, the team's takeaways from the latest Dan Snyder bombshell. And that that ESPN, of course, has the details on the investigation of Dan Snyder for financial crimes. And here's an interesting one from the Washington Post itself. Sally Jenkins, Daniel Snyder is treating the NFL and its owners the way he's always treated his employees and customers, with contempt. Wow. And then I mentioned the 4.5 million, or no, was it Bill who mentioned the 4.5 million to put the team logo on his private jet? He charged the team 4.5. Oh, it just goes on and on and on. Also a nice, and this is Lisa Banks, Deborah Katz accused NFL of going to unfathomable lengths to protect Daniel Snyder. What is going on, NFL? Come on, get on it. Daniel Snyder reportedly used Commanders like a personal piggy bank, accused of fraud, etc. Shall I go on? And this is just since I put these superlatives together a couple of days ago. Yeah. And yet, and then all the interesting things about who's going to buy the Commanders. There's some talk about how he wants to keep his hands in it. Like he's just trying to sort of sell it just to take the pressure off, to pretend like something was done, but it's really not being done. But I think Jeff Bezos wanted it. And of course, Jeff Bezos is not going to put up with that. And so he turned him down, supposedly. I think there was also, who's that guy, that actor from Texas?
Matthew McConaughey?
Alrighty, yes.
Yeah.
Matthew, yeah.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. Oh.
Alrighty.
So, yeah. So, and others interested. And even possibly as a group purchase, like instead of just having one. Although I don't see that happening with Bezos. I would think he'd want the whole thing. Anywho,
he's got the money for it. He could take it out of his couch cushions, I think.
Why would he want to mess? Why do you want to like mess around with other people and their opinions? You can buy the whole thing. So yeah. I just these are important things to remember about the NFL corporate world, like the organization and what it could be doing better, because it affects everybody. And as fans, we probably collectively have more power than we realize to make changes. But if you're not paying attention and if you're forgetting this stuff is going on, nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
Anywho, with that great news,
on that happy note,
That's how it is. I know I'm the bearer of bad news. Okay, so I mentioned the next coming up, 3 guests coming up, starting with next week, Brian, Mafi,
Mhm.
Lauren, and then Tyler. So Maddie, do you have any final thoughts before we log off tonight?
I guess just that as we really are in kind of the throes of draft season, if that's your thing, cool. If it's not, cool. If you like one person in the draft that somebody else doesn't like, cool. Like, don't let other people be gatekeepers for your fandom. Don't be a gatekeeper for other people's fandom. It's all just for fun and entertainment. And I think the best, like, most involved draft people will be the first ones to say, like, we don't know what's going to happen. And we get interested in this stuff, like, partially just to, like, try to guess who the Packers might take. But in the end, like, no one really knows. And it's just all for fun. So, I think take it that way. Have fun with it, or don't, and either way is totally fine.
Yeah. I know. I remember seeing a couple. I've been mostly paying attention to this dumb trial, but I haven't been paying attention much to the Packers Twitter this last couple of weeks. But I remember last year seeing posts about, oh, here comes the Matt Brack people, and it's like, well, yeah, here we come. Like, what's your problem?
You can block the word.
What are we hurting?
Not see them. So, yep, I know. Just people having fun with it, and that's cool.
It's all good.
Right, John. Give me any last thoughts before I read the closing?
Yeah. Any final thought? Or for me, did you say?
Yeah. Do you have any?
Oh, no. I think my final thoughts are: I'm excited about the combine, the draft. As I did the last few years, I don't pay attention to the QB stuff. I think I've made my opinions known about, that I feel like it's time to move on, but respectfully, I don't have any, I want the best, for Aaron Rodgers personally. I think I've mentioned before, and I hope he's finding what he wants out of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I hope that, retreat, whatever thing, light deprivation retreat was good for him and helpful. I don't know if he said anything about it, but
he did a whole podcast with Aubrey What's His Face. It was like hours long. I'm not gonna go listen to it, but I read the kind of the high points. It sounds like it was helpful, but like he isn't quite ready to announce anything, which, like, no surprise there. He's got a couple of weeks before, like, he really needs to. So whatever,
right.
We'll hear it when we hear it. I'm not freaking out about it. So
Nope. So we'll see what happens.
Indeed.
I'm not losing any sleep over it. I'm excited about the draft. I'm excited about our guests coming up. And I'm hoping that Dan Snyder is the only one like that. I know that a lot of these owners can be I'm just really grateful we have the Green Bay Packers that are owned by the community, not some crazy wily billionaire. Even his friend Jerry Jones is kind of like distancing himself from him,
which says something, quite frankly.
Exactly, it says a lot. So Maddie, let's bring her home.
All right, well, friends, of course, you'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned, so please check it out. Also, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan, or if not, whatever. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, please subscribe to our podcast. When you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, that's right, Maddie, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, especially those of you in the live chat.
Thanks, guys.
And to have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. Okay. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you again next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.